in the raw. RK's Guyana Free Media, and I'm your friend and your host, your brother Hajji, Dr. Roshan Khan, in the raw. RK's Guyana Free Media. Dearest beloved divine friends, family, brothers and sisters, the political atmosphere is prepping up. Lots of games, manipulation and tricks, especially from the desperados that we have seen, the AFC and the PNC, and so on. Total desperado set of acolytes, satellites, and even parasites. But my aim is not to comment on that. It has to do with today's newspapers of the Guyana Times, and it's taking action, and in all of the basic newspaper, so to say, a news group. Attempts to rig the 2020 elections, Commission of Inquiry begins this week. Witnesses asked to come forward and testify. With the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the events that followed March 2nd, 2022 general and regional elections set to commence later this week, witnesses are being encouraged to step forward to testify. The Commission is scheduled to commence later this week. And I'm your friend and your brother Hajji, Dr. Roshan Khan, in the raw. Witnesses are being encouraged to step forward to commence its inquiry on Thursday, November 3rd, 2022 at Lot 95 Middle Street, Georgetown. In a notice published in Guyana Times on Sunday and today, the COI Secretariat, Commission of Inquiry Secretariat, said any person wishing to give evidence on matters relating to the Commission's terms of reference may contact the Secretary of the Commission of Inquiry, Javid Shadiq. And these are the three presidential COI commissioners from left. Acting Justice of Appeal, Governor P. Smith. Retired Justice of Appeal, Stanley John. And former Acting Chancellor of Guyana Judiciary, Carl Sheen. Here they are. Three eminent jurists, ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, in the raw. According to Shadiq, in a press interview with the Department of Public Information, DPI, persons who wish to give evidence can visit the Middle Street Secretariat in person to give their statements. He noted that the information received will be handled diligently, and the Commission will respond in the shortest possible time to accommodate everyone's participation. However, Administrator of the COI, Colonel Ronald Hercules, also reassured that persons coming forward to testify have no reason to fear, since all systems are put in place to ensure a safe process. He told DPI last Tuesday that all facilities, accommodation and security apparatus are ready and operating at optimum levels. We are totally set and all arrangements are in place to operate a safe environment for the inquiry, Hercules stated. Fulfilling a commitment made at his inauguration, President Dr. Irfan Ali in June announced the election COI, and in September he swore in the members. The Commission will be headed by retired Justice of Appeal Stanley John of Turks and Caicos, who will serve as chairman, with the appeal also comprising former Acting Justice of Appeal in the Eastern Caribbean, Godfrey P. Smith, and also Acting Chancellor of Guyana's Judiciary, Carl Singh. They will be assisted by former Chief Elections Commissioner of India, Dr. Nazim Zaidi, and former Chairman of Ghana Elections Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari Gen, who will serve as resource personnel to the COI, the TOR. The terms of reference of the Commission include to inquire into and report upon the relevant circumstances and events leading up to and the procedures following the March 2nd, 2020 regional and general elections, not limited to, but including the counting, ascertaining, and tabulation of votes polled and the public declaration of those results by the returning officer of Electoral District Number 4 and other electoral offices. The Commission will also have to inquire into what attempts, if any, were made to obstruct, frustrate, subvert, and prevent the counting, ascertainment, and tabulation of votes polled, and a declaration of the true results of Electoral District Number 4, and by whom. They will also have to report on what attempts, if any, were made to obstruct, frustrate, subvert, and prevent the decision of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, made on March 14, 2020, to conduct a national recount of the votes polled and the March 2nd polls from being executed and implemented, and also inquire into the conduct of the Chief Elections Officer, other elections officer, and others in respect of the discharge and execution of the statutory duties prescribed by the representation of the People's Act. Additionally, the COI is tasked with making such recommendation as the Commission deems fit and necessary to permit the Guyana Elections Commission to discharge its statutory functions as prescribed by Sections 84 to 89, 96 to 97 of the Representation of the People's Act, Chapter 103, in a manner which is impartial, fair, and compliant with the Constitution and relevant legislation, and to make any other recommendations which the Commission deems appropriate, having regard to the law and to any evidence that may be presented. Already the People's Progressive Party's civic government has indicated that all the spending of the COI will be made public. This assurance was given by Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandalal in response to requests made by APNO AMC, opposition member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal, to the Commissioner of Information for the full disclosure of the remuneration package of the commissioners appointed to probe. Mahipal also sought similar information on the salaries and all the benefits of additional persons attached to the commission. But Nandalal said in September that government would publish not only the remuneration package, but all spendings of the COI. It is going to be an expensive undertaking, and I want to assure that every single cent of the monies that are going to be expended will be made public, because it is public funds. We are going to make it public, he contended. According to Attorney General Mohabir Anil Nandalal, while this will be an expensive undertaking, this COI is necessary, especially to bring to light those who, behind the events following the March 2020 polls, something which are argue that the opposition is afraid of. Following a large, smooth polling day on March 2nd, 2020, Guyana was thrown into a tumultuous 5-month political and electoral impasse after the then incumbent APNO AFC regime attempted to steal the election. It was found during the subsequent national recount process that former returning officer for Region 4, Deborah Mahaika Claremont Mingo, had heavily inflated the votes in favor of the coalition party. And I recall also Keith Lowingfield when he was making certain declarations, and I hope he will be called to task here. Okay, his name is here, I'm coming up. Since the election fiasco unfolded, several persons that served within the apparatus of the Guyana Elections Commission have already been charged with electoral fraud. These include former Chief Elections Officer CEO Keith Lowenfield, former Deputy CEO Roxanne Miles, former PNCR Minister Volder Lawrence, and Mingo, among others. So, friends and family, this is about the Commission of Inquiry that His Excellency the President had indicated was going to be done, and I think it is necessary. I was there. You know, that is the birth of the Arcades Guyana Free Media in the raw. That's where it started, and I had thousands and thousands and hundreds of viewers from around the world. And I see Burke is talking a lot of nonsense and trying to hoodwink certain persons of a particular skin color who might be congressmen or women and so on, but forgot that it was the United States government that intervened and told Mr. Granger, brigadier former retired, and a man I had respect, still to a certain level that he has to hand over power. Because, the observers, over 200 CARICOM observers agreed. The UNISAR, the South American Spanish-speaking countries, the Mandela Elders Group of South Africa, the ACP, African, Caribbean, Pacific countries, the United Nations, the European Union, ladies and gentlemen, guys like Burke, they're just doing these things to try to appease to certain people with his one-man brigade for himself called GCID, and pulling wool over Afro-Guyanese eyes who are in the United States, but it's only the few people that he could pull together. He forgot that there are people in Queens, other groupings and ethnicities of Guyanese who are not with him and are not participating with him. Particularly the PNCR, aided and supported by the APNO, AFC, were trying to steal our 2020 election. It was a time of horror and pain, which put us into 5 months of torment and suffering for our country, and the fact that our country was being looked down upon by all the major powers of the world, and also by the peoples of the world. A time of shame, very much like what we experienced in the Bornamite era, of when everything was banned and we became an obnoxious people in the Caribbean. That time of Guyana, that 5 months that the PNC, the APNO, the AFC, Ramjatan, they were trying all kinds of things to enjoy the sweet of this country at the expense of the peoples of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand and be cognizant of what took place. I was there at the count. I saw what was going on. I saw the attempts to steal a nation. I saw. And if I'm called to give information, I will give, but I don't know if I'm able to do those things, but if I'm called, I will give. But Keith Lowenfield was playing all kinds of games with us, always escaping and appearing and putting himself in a corner. They were youths, some of them charged. One of them charged, that was involved, interfering with the computer, the laptop. We had Mingo, and then we had someone I love, Miss Lawrence, who was one of the mastermind, and the mastermind, the big mastermind, was always sending out releases, and that was Harmon. He was in his office sending out all the time, including the recount, manufacturing objections. I want to know if in these objections that cause problems that these people can be charged for giving false information to the CARICOM and the recount officers and the ROs when they were doing these nonsense. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a time of horror and terror. And for some of us who were objecting, including the diplomats They were being threatened, they were being attacked, they were being targeted, and so on. So imagine what kind of a name they have, and they're trying to say that we have an installed government when the governments of the world recognize the current government. And if the PNC or the APNU had won the election, as they did by just a part of one seat in the previous election, that is the 2015 election, I would have supported them. I have to stand as a commentator for what is right. So friends and families, in the raw. But we are a democracy. And so look, they could do what they want, but they cannot really more than pull wool over some of their supporter eyes, truly make any mark. They keep on touching on certain ridiculosities and certain persons that is believed that died and was shot was done by some of their followers to create the problem and a confusion. Your friend, your family, your brother, me, Hajji Dr. Roshan can, in the raw, say thank you and farewell, friends.